By 9 in the morning, the guns were loaded. By 9:40, it was over. The British Empire had just fought and won a war in 38 minutes. To understand this war, you first need to understand Zanzibar. Imagine a small island just off the east coast of Africa. An island so rich with spices, cloves, cinnamon, pepper, that it made men obsessed. Empires crossed oceans for it. Merchants built dynasties on it. By the 1800s, Zanzibar was one of the most strategically important places on Earth, and the British knew it. For decades, Britain had quietly planted its roots in Zanzibar, not through guns, not yet, but through diplomacy, treaties, trade deals, and a very simple rule that every Sultan of Zanzibar learned early. Britain approved who ruled, and Britain could just as easily disapprove. For years, this arrangement worked. Sultans cooperated, Britain stayed happy, Zanzibar stayed peaceful. Then, on August 25, 1896, everything changed. Sultan Hamad bin Thuwaini, a British-friendly ruler, died suddenly. Was it illness? Was it poison? That question would haunt the island for decades, but in the palace, no one was waiting for answers. Because while the body was still warm, his cousin Khalid bin Barghash had already seized the palace. Khalid bin Barghash had one dream, to rule Zanzibar, and he had one problem: the British hadn't approved him. According to the treaty between Zanzibar and Britain, no one could become Sultan without British consent. Khalid knew this. He didn't care. He walked into the palace. He declared himself Sultan, and then, this is the part that stunned everyone, he started preparing for war. Within hours, Khalid had gathered somewhere between 2,500 and 3,000 men inside and around the palace. He armed them. He barricaded the doors. He positioned his one ancient cannon. He even had a royal yacht, an old wooden ship called the HHS Glasgow, ready in the harbor. An old wooden yacht against the British Royal Navy. The British consul, Basil Cave, walked up to the palace gates. He delivered the message personally. You have until 9 a.m. on August 27th to stand down, leave the palace, and surrender. If you do not comply, we will open fire. Khalid's response? He sent a message back, and inside that message was perhaps the boldest sentence ever written to the British Empire. We have no intention of hauling down our flag, and we do not believe you would open fire on us. He was wrong. 8 a.m. The harbor of Zanzibar looks almost peaceful. Fishing boats rock gently. The morning sun turns the water gold. On the shore, hundreds of Zanzibar civilians have gathered. Word has spread. Something is going to happen. In the harbor sit 5 British warships. Their guns are loaded. Their crews are at their stations. Their orders are clear. At the palace, Khalid's men grip their weapons. Some of them are soldiers. Many of them are just loyal servants, armed with whatever was available. There are women and children inside the palace complex too. Nobody thought to send them away. 8:55 a.m., the British ships signal to the palace one final time. No response. 8:58 a.m. 2 minutes to the deadline, and then the palace fires first. The palace cannon fires a single shot toward the British ships. It misses, and then the British fleet opens up with everything it has. Shell after shell tears into the palace. The ancient stone walls that had stood for generations begin to crumble. Khalid's men fire back, bravely, desperately, but they are shooting pistols and old rifles at armored warships. The HHS Glasgow, Khalid's little wooden yacht, tries to engage the British ships. It takes approximately 5 minutes to sink. Inside the palace, the situation is catastrophic. The roof collapses. Walls cave in. Men who had stood so defiantly just hours ago are now running, hiding, falling. The flag, the green flag of the Zanzibar Sultanate, is still flying above the ruins. Until a British shell hits the flagpole, the flag drops. 9:40 a.m. It is over. 38 minutes. The shortest war in recorded human history. When the smoke cleared, the palace was a ruin. Between 500 and 570 of Khalid's men were dead or wounded. On the British side, one officer lightly injured. Khalid bin Barghash, the man who had been so certain the British wouldn't fire, had fled in the middle of the battle. He took refuge in the German consulate, where, under diplomatic immunity, the British couldn't touch him. He lived in exile for years. Eventually, the British caught him anyway. In 1916, during World War I, he lived out his days in quiet obscurity. The new British-approved Sultan was installed by afternoon. Life on the island resumed. The spice trade continued, and the war, the entire war, was over before most of the world even heard it had begun. But here's what I keep thinking about. Khalid's men. Many of them weren't soldiers. They were cooks, guards, servants, people who followed their sultan out of loyalty, and they paid with their lives for a war that lasted less than 40 minutes. History remembers this as a footnote, a curiosity, a trivia question. But for the people who were there, it was the longest day of their lives.